Principles of supervision. There is an old saying that which is not inspected is not done. Hence, inspection, overseeing, and supervision arise in response to need inherent in the functioning of an organization. The next slide explains on the goals of supervision. One of the goals of supervision is to bring personal and professional growth of employees, specifically, of course, the nurses, in order to achieve quality in healthcare systems. Likewise, it's the key to maintain standards. Another one is to persist in the delivery of high quality of healthcare services, to assist and to help in the development of staff to their higher potential, and to interpret policies, objectives, and needs of the organization. And lastly, to plan services cooperatively and to develop coordination to avoid overlapping. In continuation of this supervision, the goals would include to assist in the problem solving of the matters concerning personal, administrative, and operation of services. Likewise, to develop standards of services and methods of evaluation of a personnel and services. To evaluate the services given, persona, performance, progress made, and to suggest changes for improving the work effectively and outcome of the personnel. There are basic tenets of supervision. So these are now the credo or the belief of what supervision means. Supervision is an ongoing process invariably interwoven with motivation, performance appraisal, staff development, and leadership. Supervisors are always accountable for the performance of their subordinates working under them, meaning his span of control. He is also responsible for helping the workers to improve, not only to improve but to develop and reinforce knowledge and skills according to their individual needs. They are likewise required to help their workers to develop right attitude. And another essential is in the tenet of supervision includes assisting the worker to perform in the best possible way to yield the best results in terms of realization of the goals of the organization. Next is the objectives of supervision. In supervision, it helps subordinates to do their job skillfully and efficiently, to develop subordinates' capacity to the fullest extent. Of course, to promote teamwork, to promote moral and motivations among workers, to bridge the gap between personal goal and the organizational goal. So what's the purpose of supervision? Generally, supervision is to improve the quality of work or the quality of performance. It helps the person doing the work and develop into the highest possible standards. There are many principles of supervision. The first is supervision should encourage self-expression so as to draw out potential abilities of the worker. It should provide initiative to individual to take the lead or to take responsibility. Supervision should provide full opportunity of the supervisee to do the work in cooperation to develop the team spirit. And of course, to promote good IPR. It should also give autonomy to the workers depending from personality, competence, and characteristics. Supervision interprets policies and give instructions. Supervision should meet the individual needs, definitely. It should always think herself as a leader so as to give guidance, help, as well as encouragement of the supervisee. It should be democratic. It should be well planned and adapted to good planning. Before you can supervise, you should have to have a good plan in the concept of supervision. It calls for good planning and organizing. Good supervision respects the personality, of course, of the individual. It should aim at growth in knowledge and improvement of skills of the person. It should improve the ability in thinking and adjusting to the new situation, the flexibility, in other words. It should help to formulate objectives. Good provision stimulates their interest and effectors, and there should be no undue pressure for achievement. So, these are the principles of supervision. Okay? In continuation, we have autonomy to subordinate are preferred, meaning they should be independent. Supervision should have competence. They should have received training. Decision making should be encouraged. There should be free communication. There will be no overburdening to staff. And of course, a good leadership by the supervisor. Should have to have a suitable climate for work. It should give guidance. Supervision should encourage innovation, allowing the free flow of ideas and sharing of positive experiences, of the personnel. It strives to make the ward a good learning situations. In clinical supervision, staff nurses differs from that of students in general respect. Of course, good supervision is well planned. Objectives, methods of supervision, and criteria for judging should be emphasized. Good supervision helps the individual nurse set up objectives. It helps her to attain her objectives. It stimulates her interest and efforts. It helps the nurse to make a pattern for analysis, to analyze and continuously her success in reaching her objectives. Who is the supervisor? So, it is a person who is primarily the one in charge of a section and is responsible for both the quality and quantity of production, for the efficient performance of the equipment, and for the employees in his charge and their efficiency, training, and morale. Likewise, a supervisor are the ones that drives authority from the department head for getting work done from the workers by using other resources. He is also the one that issues instructions to the workers, directs their activities and reports to the department head of the performance of his action. This is a schematic presentation of the qualities of a good supervisor. A good supervisor should be a trained person, should be knowledgeable, should be good in health with pleasing manner, a good listener. It should lead exemplary life. It should be creative and enthusiastic. It should be just, impartial, human, tolerant, and tactful. It should be helpful with good power of judgment. Next slide focuses on the functions of supervision. There are many aspects, many functions in relation to supervision. First is administrative, in the field educative, communicative, and evaluative. Administrative function would include teaching, it would include helping and linking and evaluating. Of course, there are many other functions that are being mentioned. It develops mutual confidence. It raises level of motivation. Should develop good IPR. Okay? And of course, knows how to do records and reports. And he should establish a control over subordinates. What are the problems in the nursing service in relation to supervision? Specifically, the very first problem here is shortage of nursing personnel, which is very, very common because of the brain drain. Individual differences among personnel in interest, capacities, and abilities. Lack of information, insight, and understanding of changes and development in the interest of the continuance and improvement of nursing. Of course, it becomes a problem when there is lack of clearly defined assignments or given multiple responsibility and the lack of planning on the part of those to whom personnel is responsible. It becomes a problem when there are outdated policies, procedures, and guidelines to workmanship which cause them to be disregarded or which causes chaos or they are being unused. Another problem of supervision is inadequate, unsafe, and defective equipments that are being used, like for example in hospitals. Ill health in the part of the personnel, even though we believe in the saying that health personnel has no right to get sick, but human as we are also prone to this kind of illnesses. Undesirable personal characteristics with special attention to attitudes. That's a very big problem also. Qualities of a good supervisor. So a good supervisor should have thoroughness, fairness, initiative, tact, enthusiasm, emotional control, general outlook. Okay? Basing on his personal qualifications and his teaching ability, skills, knowledge, and attitude required for supervision. Okay? Interpersonal and professional skills also are needed. Professional and technical knowledge and definitely attitude. That's all, and thank you for listening.